Hey guys, what's going on? Matt O'Leary here talking about the New York Jets and Nathaniel Hackett specifically having some harsh words for the offense on third down in the red zone. He said we sucked, and I will get into that, but something that doesn't suck is Breece Hall. I cannot wait to watch Breece Hall this week, and that's why I'm using Breece Hall in my Underdog Fantasy lineup. This video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure to sign up using my promo code. Link is in the description of the video and the pinned comment, and they are doing a match deposit bonus, 100% match deposit bonus up to $500. So that means input 500 using my code, and they will give you 500 if you use my code to sign up to $500. Okay, here are my 3 plays this week. Number 1 is Breece Hall higher than 60.5 rushing yards. I think the Jets will lean on Breece Hall in this game. The New York Giants defense struggles against the run, and I think he has a big day. As for Zach Wilson, I like his rushing yardage over as well. He didn't hit it this past time out against the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think he tucks one and runs for a big gain in this one. I think he's sitting somewhere around 30 rushing yards in this game. I think he uses his legs a little bit more. And then finally, you have Patrick Mahomes. He is taking on the Denver Broncos. I have higher on 271.5 passing yards. He's cleared that each of the last 3 weeks. And the first time these two teams played this year, he went for 306 yards. As we know, the Denver Broncos do not have a very good defense. I think Patrick Mahomes goes over this number. So let's see what a $10 play could yield up to $60. So 3 correct pays up to $60. It's that simple. Make sure to get in on the fun over at Underdog Fantasy with my code linked down below. So the New York Jets are coming off the bye week this week. I am excited to see the Jets back in action against the New York Giants. And something that Nathaniel Hackett did over the bye week was take a look at the New York Jets red zone offense, and he said flat out, we sucked on third downs and we sucked in the red zone.
So when you did your self-scouting over the bye, what did you see when you looked at the red zone?
We sucked in the red zone, and we sucked on third down. I think the biggest one has been the self-inflicted wounds. And it's not just one person. It's everybody's kind of take turns. And for us, we got to settle down, and everybody's got to do their job. And I think that was kind of the biggest one. It starts with me doing my job, and then having all those guys be able to do those little things, and then those things will slowly come. There's been a lot of opportunities there for us, and we just got to capitalize on them.
Sucked is an appropriate word for that because they are dead last in third down conversion. They are converting on third downs at 25%, 32nd in the NFL. And in red zone efficiency, guess where they are. Hint, 32nd last, dead last in both categories. That is a recipe for disaster. And naturally, people want to know, well, whose fault is it? Why is it, or how is it humanly possible for a team to be that badly? Is it the play calling? Is it the offensive line? Is it Zach Wilson? And everyone has opinions, and go figure, people are very, very adamant what the problem is. And the reality, unfortunately, is it's a mix of a lot of things, and a lot of things that Nathaniel Hackett brought up, I think, are appropriate things to discuss. For instance, he talks about himself first, which I like that accountability from a coach. Good. I like that. Good for you, Nathaniel Hackett, because you're right. He says the play calling is something that needs to be better, which it does. In the red zone specifically, the Jets do something that drives me nuts. And if you follow me on social media, if you watch my videos religiously, I'm sure you know because I talked about it, but I'm going to do it again because it is that important. On second downs and long, or second and goal, but not like second and goal from the 2. I'm talking second and goal from like the 9. The Jets run the ball a lot in those situations, and that is a really, really bad idea, and I'll tell you why. It is much easier to defend against the run when you are down in that spot because you can press the box. Like, there's only so much room. Your safeties are moved down. Your linebackers are pressing down and trying to make plays at that point. And most times in the red zone, teams begin to clamp down. But it's harder to run the ball in that spot, and then you're setting yourself up, and it's like, oh, man, we got third and goal from the 7 or third and goal from the 8. And you're like, well, All right, now you get one end zone shot instead of two end zone shots. The Jets have a freak in Garrett Wilson, who we saw in week one. Just throw the ball up to him and he's going to make a play, and he's going to somehow make an unbelievable catch. That's why, Zach Wilson tried it last week. It didn't work. That's fine. Zach Wilson also tried it against Denver, and he threw an interception on it. And, ball placement was probably not the best, but I'm not going to, again, I'm not crushing Zach Wilson for the interception against Denver. But specifically, you have to exclude that, right? And Alan Lazard's a bigger receiver, and Tyler Conklin is someone who has had some ability in the red zone the last couple of years. I would like to see the Jets get more aggressive with their play calling and not go so conservative in the red zone, because we see is between the 20s, the Jets were aggressive. The two games they were most aggressive were the Philadelphia Eagles games and the Kansas City Chiefs games, and that's two of the games I thought Zach Wilson looked at his best. Honestly, I really did. Against Kansas City, they were throwing the ball on first down. They're using the play action. This past week, or I keep saying this past week, they're on the bye. But the last time out, there we go, against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Jets threw on first down significantly more than they ran the ball, which was a welcome change. And I'm not saying abandon the run, because Breece Hall's really freaking good, and I like him a ton. I just think there are ways to make it so that you're not so predictable on what you're going to do. No more run, pass, please. Run, pass is a terrible formula. It makes me feel like I'm back watching the 2020 Jets with Adam Gase and Sam Darnold and Frank Gore. Number two is, yes, the quarterback, Zach Wilson. I know, plug your ears, guys, for some people don't like this, but part of it is Zach Wilson's fault. I'm not saying it's all Zach Wilson's fault. It absolutely isn't. So that crowd is wrong, too, or saying it's only Zach Wilson's fault. Well, that's not fair, because also last year, different coach, granted, but this team stunk in the red zone with Mike White last year, too. So it's not all just Zach Wilson's fault. Now, he does, though, need to do a better job of finding open guys, because there were a few opportunities the last few weeks against Denver and against Philadelphia in games where he was okay. He managed those games. He was fine. I don't have a ton of issue with how he played, where there were some guys open and you would like for him to find those guys. And his read, it's dependent on what his reads are. And, all those things play a factor in this. Of course, naturally, that does play a factor in it. But, there's no secret that Zach Wilson also has to improve. Zach Wilson has improved from last year to this year. It is a very, very big improvement. But that's not to say that he's a fixed product. I think you're crazy if you think that, you're completely fine with the product that we've seen from Zach Wilson. It's better, but there is still room for improvement. And that's one of those areas that he has to start getting the ball into the end zone more. He has 4 touchdown passes in 6 games on the year. And that number has to go up. It just does. And the interceptions outside the Dallas game have been fine. Dallas, 3 picks in the fourth quarter of a game that was a blowout. It is what it is. Hopefully there's no more games like that this year. The Milano pick was bad in week 1. That was bad. But the one against the Broncos, again, not going to kill him on. But Zach Wilson does have to get better. And last but certainly not least, and this I think is really the biggest one, is the self-inflicted wounds. So many times they have these back-breaking penalties. For instance, against Philadelphia, you had the Lazard one, so it looked like the Jets were going to get a free play. Lazard throws a block, squares a guy up in the chest, gets called for it. Is it a BS penalty? Yeah, it is, but that's an example of one. Holds, false starts, etc. Like, there is just so many, against Denver, the not getting the play, the spike down in the 2-minute drill and not being able to get points. Like, just stop doing stupid shit. Sorry for the language, but stop doing stupid shit in the red zone. That's really what it comes down to. And it's a lot of things that you do and bring on yourself. Penalties are a big part of that. Wes Schweitzer, I believe, took a penalty in the red zone last week. They've had false starts at times. It's just little things like that. It adds up, and I'm glad that they got away with it in the last couple of weeks in the games against Denver and the game against Philadelphia. But you can't go on this 1-for-9 stretch in the red zone and expect to have success going forward. I think the Jets could go on a nice little run here. They have a favorable schedule in the second half of the season, but an area in which they must improve is the red zone. And Nathaniel Hackett is 1,000% right. I agree with him. They did suck, and I hope they don't suck coming out of the bye. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.